Welcome back to another episode of Cape Ann Today with our favorite Gloucester Times reporters, Stephen Hagan and Ethan Foreman. Nice to see you guys.
Hello, Heather.
Hi there. Okay, Stephen, we're going to start with you first. You have this
Yes, ma'am.
coming out of Manchester by the Sea and Rockport and Essex. So tell us what your first story actually involves the Coast Guard.
Right, Coast Guard and Coast Guard and fishermen all over, not just on Cape Ann, but all over the country. There's a rule that a lot of people apparently don't know about. It's called the 75-25 rule. It's been instituted by the Coast Guard, and I don't know how long it's been in place, but apparently it's not been enforced stringently until recently. For some reason, the rule requires that on board fishing expeditions, 75% of the fishermen must be American born. Only 25%, no more than that, can be foreign born. It was brought to my attention by someone who's part of the Gloucester Fisheries Commission, Sam Novello. Thank you, Ethan. He brought it to my attention. He knows of another fisherman who doesn't want to go on the record, who had a foreign-born fisherman helping him, Honduran national. I mean, this doesn't even get into the question of whether or not these people are illegal or legal immigrants. I'm just going with the assumption that they're all legal, but still, in this case, the fishing expedition was boarded by the Coast Guard, and they were told they had to stop fishing and go home. They threatened them, according to what the man told me. I did talk to him. The man told me that the Coast Guard threatened to fine them and even take their catch, which results in, adds up to thousands of dollars of money. So anyway, that's going on. Any questions?
Yes, I do have questions. So how are the fishermen sort of getting organized? Is Joe Novello taking action?
Joe Novello is part of the Fisheries Commission. The mayor is part of the Fisheries Commission. Mayor Virgo, who I communicated with, and he's watching the situation, so he says, but they don't know what to do. The bottom line is people don't really know about this rule. And there needs to be clarification. I did reach out to the Coast Guard station, U.S. Coast Guard District 1 office in Boston. Apparently they oversee the whole region, but I never heard back from them. So
that's concerning too.
They could be a follow.
Stephen, have there been other incidents recently of the Coast Guard acting on this?
Not to my knowledge.
Huh. Yeah.
So
so
who knows?
So you said Mayor Verger is watching this, and he is watching. What would he be watching? Is there any sort of action that the fishermen are taking? We don't know.
Not that I'm aware of at this point. They could be. I know that people are reading the story. I was reminded, I'm embarrassed to admit this, but I improperly identified NOAA, the
National
Oceanographic, right? Whatever.
That was the last one, second one wrong.
And the National Marine Fisheries Service. But people are reading it, so we'll see what happens.
NOAA involved in this if it's a Coast Guard regulation?
They're only involved in the sense that there's so many regulations by NOAA that they have their own challenge for fishermen, especially for this small time fishermen. They get boarded, I won't say all the time, but they do get boarded frequently.
Right.
But usually, I don't know.
Looking at the birth records of the fishermen on board, they're looking at other things.
I'm sorry, ask that question again, please.
When NOAA comes on board and is examining a fishing boat's operations, they're not checking for birth records. And
That makes sense. I think you're right on that, but I'm not sure. I don't know if they can also investigate and sanction voters who are foreign born.
yeah,
Don't mean the quota, or not the quota, the percentage
right.
makeup. Anyway, moving ahead from there was a very long town meeting in Essex on Monday night. Also a very long town meeting in Manchester by the Sea Monday night. 3.5 hours in Manchester, 4 hours in Essex. Ethan, God bless his heart, picked up the Manchester coverage. He did a bang up job. The Essex meeting, basically, I mean, it was 29 articles. The one article that really brought a fair amount of discussion that wasn't really surprising, but it was very interesting, was the second go round at the Apple Street roadbed elevation and culvert project. It, as you may recall, last spring at annual town meeting, it was defeated at town meeting there. It was brought forward again this time with the same exact language as was presented in I think May, in the spring, and it lost again. And so that was pretty interesting. I will have a follow article on that. The selectmen in Essex are tentatively planning to discuss it at their next board meeting on a Monday in a couple of weeks. And it may be dead, but it may be life. Who knows? Who knows?
What was the vote on that, Stephen?
The vote, well, it required I believe it required a 2/3 majority, and it did not reach that. It didn't, I believe it didn't even reach 50%. So that's that. And finally, in your neck of the woods, Rockport Thatcher Road yesterday was shut down for a few hours. There was a pretty serious accident by South Street and Tregony Bow.
We say Bo here in.
Bow. I'll get it right one of these days. Anyway, apparently the driver of a white SUV, it was said to be by firefighters, a Lexus, went off the road into this wooded area near that intersection. The driver, I haven't gotten the name yet, nor the update on his condition, but it was a gentleman. He had serious injuries, according to Rockport Police, and he was taken to Addison Gilbert Hospital. The investigation is being conducted by the state police, the reconstruction unit, and they had the road shut down for quite a while. The Tally's towing showed up. I was there. They dragged this car out of the woods. They had actually sawed, cut down tree limbs, like thick tree limbs, to get it out. It was really bad shape. The car from behind it looked good, and in the front not so much. So the investigation by the Mass State Police Collision and Analysis Reconstruction Section CARS. So I'll be hopefully in touch with them today. And that's it for now.
Well, thank you for all that. And
You're
Ethan,
very welcome.
I want to thank you for your great service to 1623 last week on election evening. And your reports were wonderful. It was great to have you there. It was great to be at Kairou's auditorium with you. So thank you for taking the time.
Yeah, I don't think I really did much. I think it was a pretty amazing thing to have the cable channel live like that. I didn't really hear much of it. I couldn't hear from inside the auditorium, but it was really kind of a cool thing. And the projection of the results was pretty amazing. People were cramming around the screen there, and I actually had to go to my laptop to see them. And well, I was a little embarrassed because we only got 3 of the races into the next day's paper, and then my editor's like, you gotta give us something for the web for the results. And I'd been running around talking to everybody, trying to get as many candidate interviews as I could, and then my editor's like, you gotta file something, and the results are coming in. You can't really see anything. But I think I wish I get to watch some of that coverage. That's great. Thanks for inviting me on.
Yeah. Well, you were wonderful because you covered all these races, all these forums. So you were our voice of the election, really, and you were great. You gave
Oh,
us
thanks.
insights into the candidates and the races. So what is your takeaway from election night?
I don't know, man, Sean Nolan, the Ward 5 counselor, said the residents of Gloucester won. They won. Mayor's reelected, incumbent mayor. I guess the conventional wisdom is if you don't mess up in your first term, you get you get another 2 years. And it also brings up issues of whether maybe the term should be lengthened, as happened in Salem and Beverly, I believe. So, Mayor reelected first term. He was a former city councilor, school committee member, and faced a challenge from his former health director, Mary Ellen Rose, who is a Gloucester native through and through, but had moved out of the city, as many people do, to make her career, and was able to have a successful career, PhD, and long career in health. Very distinguished career. The State Department, worked State Department, Health Defense Agency. So, for some reason, her tenure with the health department was short-lived. There's competing narratives on that. We don't want to get into that now, but she did run a really good, spirited, concerted campaign. Out of the box for your first run at elected office in a city, going for mayor, going for the top job. So I hope Mary Ellen stays involved. But I think Mayor Verger done a lot in his first term. I mean, you look at Stage Fort Park. It's paved. The Vietnam Memorial is there. The Cannons area, the Fort Cannon area has been improved. Street paving, a lot of Prospect Street was recently paved. People complain about the roads, but the roads are looking okay. Some of the roads are looking okay in Gloucester. He bit the bullet on the secondary wastewater facility at the wastewater plant. That's $150 million, potentially $200 million price tag. And he's going to tackle it. It's not going to kick the can down the road. Of course, the city is having trouble. Probably would not get a waiver anymore for not having secondary treatment. And I've heard it's one of the only cities left on the Eastern Seaboard not to have secondary treatment. So hopefully, I imagine that they're going to try to figure a way to finance this thing. But he did take that on. He's taken on a lot of issues. He's got the Green Street field, softball field project underway now. With a lot of people bemoan the loss of Manos Field and the softball field there, and the loss of softball fields in the city over time. But under his watch, the school was completed. Now it had begun before he was in office, but apparently on time, on budget. So what I believe that he's been very responsive mayor. So, although some may want to rebut that, but he's very responsive, very project oriented, very good government oriented, and he's going to face a lot of heat, I think, over the next 2 years with the MBTA zoning. That's very controversial in the city. Some people just don't want to do it, and he wants to comply with the law. He's no fan of the law. He's no big super fan of it, he says. And so we'll see what happens. But so I think first term going into second term, he says he's got a mandate. So we'll see going forward. And I don't think he hasn't really taken a break. Gloucester's been very busy last week. I don't think he's had a chance to breathe. I haven't had a chance to breathe. So there you go.
I know. Well, speaking of being very busy, there were many forums this election season. I don't know.
Yeah, it was a lot. I couldn't make all of them too.
Yeah, there were a lot of them, and I don't know if there were more than usual or not, but it seemed like there were a lot. I personally really enjoyed them, and I learned a lot from them. But what do you think? Do you think that they served the community and the election process?
Well, as a reporter, if you're struggling to write about 6 different candidates, and you don't want to call them all and spend a couple of days doing that, attending a forum, getting their pictures. That was the race for at-large counselor. So I think that was really helpful. I think they just and trying to differentiate themselves. You have to give the Lanesville Community Center credit. Those debates got very heated. I don't know if it's because it's in a small box, but some of the mayoral one and the at-large one were a little bit intense.
Mhm.
But very good public engagement all around. Kudos to the Greater Cape Ann Chamber of Commerce for holding debates, and this new Cape Ann Political Action Committee as well, doing the ward candidates as well.
Women voters, right? Didn't they do one?
The women voters had done more of interviews.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Yeah.
They were sort of taped interviews, and then for 1623, amazing to get all 27 candidates to make a statement. Amazing work. So hats off to you guys. I think you outdid yourself. If you guys don't win an award for your coverage on this election, I've never seen such spirited engagement from a local cable access in an election.
Thank you.
So yeah, it was really good.
Well, I want you to get some rest, but before that, you have to tell us what's going on at Rust Island, because there is news.
Yeah, Rust Island's at if you go over the Andrew Bridge, for those of you who actually do leave the island, there's the Rust Island neighborhood is right there, and it's beautiful. It's very private. Probably don't have to, if you don't have to live there, you probably don't go there. It's a little remote, but they only get seasonal water. So if the Lobsterland restaurant, there's a hydrant there.
Yeah.
That's the hydrant that you would use for fire protection, and you'd have to string all the fire trucks down. There's a fire on the island. They have to string like 6 fire trucks to get to any of the houses.
Wow.
So, from pump to pump to pump. So, they advocated for what it's called deep water. In other words, buried water lines. Right now, they get seasonal water, and came up before the city council. Some people feel like they hadn't heard about this, or that the proposal came out of the blue. The council's budget and finance committee did take it up on October 19. I don't get to all those meetings, so it kind of surprised me a little bit too. $15 million project, but the residents had asked for this since April. They were persistent at the council, and they were trying to make the case that we need this for public safety.
So let me just be clear on this. So do the residents who live there year round have wells?
Yes, they have wells, but they get water in the summer.
Okay, all right.
So you can imagine, and it's city provided seasonal water.
So the
city is providing this water.
Yeah. Okay.
So this came up as, why don't they get a betterment? So because the city decided to put this on the tax rate. So technically it's a water enterprise project, but then they reduce the water enterprise, and the money comes from the tax levy. It's about $90 if you have a $750,000 home.
Okay.
Over the life of the debt, $90 a year. If you're watching this now, tonight is Thursday. City Council is going to be doing their annual tax classification hearing, trying to see which portion of the levy should go to businesses and homes. So we'll see.
Okay.
How that turns out, but then they'll set the tax rate, and we'll figure out how much your taxes is going up next year.
All right. On that happy note, I will not see you next week because it's Thanksgiving Day, but I will see.
Oh, could we do it? Could we just have turkey? Could we all Zoom in from our tables, from our Thanksgiving tables? Yeah.
Wednesday. We could do it on Tuesday or Wednesday.
No, on Thanksgiving we'll all go on Zoom from our respective kitchens, and we'll talk Gloucester. No, I'm just kidding. We'll see you in a couple of weeks.
All right. You won't want to do that. Yeah. All right. Have a nice holiday, guys. And
Happy Thanksgiving, Heather.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Thank you. Same back. All right. Take care.
Bye-bye.
Interested in a sponsorship? Email sponsor@1623studios.org to learn more.